shoes. It's a little damp out here. Hello everyone. Tina Michelle here. Just wanted to share a little bit about my journey in hopes that it maybe helps someone, maybe someone you know that has dealt with anxiety and panic attacks. Maybe that's you or someone you know. And especially with everything that's going on right now, I just felt inspired to share, hoping that it inspires someone else. So I am in no way, shape, or form offering medical advice. I am only sharing a little bit about myself and what I've dealt with and how I handled it and what worked for me. Doesn't mean it works for everyone. But basically, in a nutshell, I have dealt with anxiety and panic attacks since as a child, as long as I can remember. And I had a wonderful childhood. You know, no trauma, so to speak. I had a lot of respiratory issues when I was younger, and I know that it sounds funny. Maybe it won't to you, but to some it might. I just never learned to breathe properly, and when you feel like you can't breathe, you get a little panicky. And so, not making light of that in any way, shape, or form, but it led me on a path of living a very fearful life, and I did not understand that until I was much older and grown. And we're talking about go to the hospital, think I'm dying. If you've never had a panic attack, I can assure you it's one of the most unpleasant experiences that I wouldn't wish on anyone. Would not wish it on my worst enemy. So I am not being paid to endorse anyone. Again, I'm just sharing my story. It probably was in my early 40s. I had a few things happen, and I just got mad. I just got angry. Like, I am sick of this ruling my life. There were times I would not want to leave the house. I definitely had bouts of cycles of anxiety. Sometimes they were worse than others. Looking back, I see it a little clearer now. Maybe there were things going on in my life that I couldn't control. And not that I don't feel like I try to control things in my life, but when things would be so out of control is probably what would tip the scales for me at times. So again, around early 40s, I got angry. I just got really angry that I need to understand this. No, don't know why the light bulb went off at that certain time in my life, but it did. And so I began this self-discovery, I guess you could call it, where I wanted to understand what this was that had such a hold on me and that was affecting me as a wife and a mother and a friend and a daughter, and not in a good way. So again, as I said, I'm not, I don't know these people. I just know that this book came into my life. I think maybe I was at a bookstore and something just grabbed me, the title, and it's a book, and I highly recommend this book. It's called Fearless Living by Rhonda Britton. There are two people, well, three, including Jesus, and hopefully I will meet him one day, but two other people that I would just love to meet one day and sit down and just speak with them because they have no idea how much they impacted my life in my journey of healing from this. So, Fearless Living by Rhonda Britton. That book changed me in a lot of ways. One of the biggest things I got from it was, imagine, she talks about this in her book, imagine a hamster on a wheel. And you know when the hamster gets to going really, really fast and the wheel goes faster and faster and faster, that's what anxiety panic attack feels like. It's like it just won't stop. It's just this vicious cycle. And the second person that really influenced me is Iyanla Vanzant. Iyanla is a godsend, in my opinion. Just such words of wisdom, and probably the biggest thing I got from her that has really helped me in my life, aside from just in dealing with people. Two things actually. One is I love when she says that anger is always the second emotion. Always. That was pretty big, because if you think about it, anytime you get angry, that's always the second emotion. What made you angry? In my case, for anxiety, it was the anxiety and panic attacks making me, I got to a point where I just was so angry about it. Like, stop having such control over my life. And the second thing, really big thing I got from her was maybe not anxiety related, but was always, if you know that you need to have, or you're going to have a uncomfortable conversation with someone, and you know, I really don't want to have that conversation because it might end in an argument and yada yada yada, state your intention before the conversation. Hey, can we have a conversation that might be a little uncomfortable? You know, there's something that, you know, I want to hear how you feel about it, but I also want you to hear how I feel about it, you know, whatever the circumstances may be. But that just really hit home with me, that it's not all about me. You know, I interact with other people, and other people have to deal with me, and I just want to be really kind and loving and considerate about that. So those are probably two of the biggest influences on my road to recovery from anxiety and panic attacks. Did not happen overnight. Let me tell you, this wasn't like, oh, I read this book and I'm cured, or oh, I listened to Iyanla, I read her books and blah 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 and I'm cured. No, that's not how it worked. What happened then was that I got introduced to the idea of meditation, and if you don't know, in anxiety, you have a hard time. The mind has a hard time stopping. It's like you have this roommate in your head. We all have a roommate in our head, and that's not crazy talk. That's just, we all have that voice, and sometimes our roommate can be really ugly, can really say some outlandish things, and if you allow that roommate to take control, it can drive you a little bit crazy. And so learning to quiet that voice, as we call it in yoga, the monkey mind, calming that monkey mind, calming that constant chatter that you have in your head. For me, that didn't happen overnight. You have to dedicate yourself to the practice of that. And so with the meditation, for me, breath, huge part of that. That is how I can stop anxiety or panic attack from coming on. I'm not saying that I haven't had moments where I feel something, like something happens, for instance, the death of my mother 3 years ago. In the past, I would have been on Xanax, I would have been talking to my therapist, I would have been, because that's how you lose someone that means so much to you. That's a pretty out of control feeling. What we have going on in the world right now, pretty out of control feeling. But if it weren't for my meditation and yoga practice, right now, I'd be popping the Xanax. I'd be a basket case. And, there's a lot of people that are probably having a lot of anxiety right now. And I just want you to know that you can control that. But for me, it was a process to get there. And so I just want to encourage you to do something positive for yourself. Pick up a book. Again, I highly recommend that book. It just hit home with me. There may be a different book for different people, but finding something positive to read, to look at, listening to positive podcasts. I love Yoga Girl. I think that's her name. Yoga Girl. I love her podcast. You can create positivity around you. I thought I would talk a little bit about talking about the breath and how it helps me so much. So when you are having a panic attack, or when I'm having, I should say me, I'm just relating, not that I'm talking about me, I'm just talking about my experience. So that's why I'm saying me a lot. It's very short breath. And one of the thoughts would be like, I'm going to have a heart attack. I can't catch my breath. I'm going to pass out. In reality, I remember reading in Rhonda's book, so what if you pass out? It's going to be over. I mean, that's your parasympathetic nervous system. Your lungs are just going to keep, you're going to pass out, but everything else is going to keep working. So I finally got to a point where I was like, oh, what if I'd be having a panic attack? I wish I would just pass out and it'd be over, But that out of control feeling with the breath, you can control it. And so while I'm sitting here with you, let's do a little bit of that, so that you maybe feel what I'm talking about. So most of the time, we, especially during times of stress, take those few moments and breathe with your full diaphragm, upper and lower. A lot of times we breathe very shallow. That's how I would breathe, very shallow. In my yoga training, I was a red hot mess. I mean, I'm surprised she didn't fail me, to be honest. Because my yoga training, I did the Baron Baptiste, Live, Love, Teach. Love it. Love it. Very breath oriented. I'd be like, breathing in, breathing out, just, I couldn't get it. I could not get it. I just thought, this is going to be so pitiful if I can't even finish my yoga training because I can't breathe right. It's like crazy. I have a tip on that. I'll share that in a minute. But let's go back to the breathing and what can help you when maybe you're feeling really anxious, and if you just take a moment and notice, you'll probably find yourself tensing, right? So I always like to start with have a seat seated comfortably. And I want, just in your mind's eye, imagine growing your spine really long. So reaching the crown of your head up as tall as it can go, and maybe even imagining the space between each vertebrae in your spine growing a little taller. And the big one is dropping the shoulders away from your ears. And if you're doing this with me, you might not even realize you were holding your shoulders up. Let the shoulders drop down. And then the next big thing might sound odd, but relaxing your face. Relax your jaw. Relax your cheeks. And relax the tongue in your mouth. Relaxing the space between your brow. And just take a moment and just notice how you're breathing. Is your inhale longer than your exhale? Or vice versa? And then from here, I want you to place one hand on your chest and one hand over your belly. And as you breathe in through your nose, I want you to feel your chest rising, and then I want you to push your belly out. And then as you exhale, let the belly soften and the chest falls. And again, as you breathe in, feel the chest rise and push your belly out. And then as you exhale, soften the belly and let the chest fall. So maybe imagine an ocean wave, right? So feel that ocean wave moving through your body. And just taking that moment, just breathing with the full diaphragm can make you feel so much better. So when you feel maybe a little anxiety or panic coming on, take a moment, get in a quiet spot if you can, and if you can't, even if it's in your car. I do this in my car. I'll start to get like road rage. I don't like to admit that, but sometimes people drive me nuts. And I'm just like 2 or 3 big breaths like that just helps so much. So it maybe it sounds easy, maybe it doesn't, but to me, it's like, you mean I've been suffering all these years and all I had to do was just get mad about it and go on this self-journey, self-discovery. And that's what led me to becoming a yoga instructor. And what is so beautiful about yoga is just the self-awareness that it gives you and it brings to you. And then you're able to turn that awareness outward and maybe just be a little kinder, a little more loving, thinking about your actions and the domino effect that may have. That's probably been the biggest thing for me. I am not the person I was 10 years ago, not even 5 years ago. Definitely not the person I was in my early 40s when I came to the self-discovery, I guess you could call it, of things needed to change because I wasn't willing to live the rest of my life the way that it was going. And so this has been very healing for me. I hope that me sharing this is inspiring to you, or if you know someone that suffers with anxiety and panic attacks, hey, maybe let them watch this video. I don't know if it would help. I certainly hope that it does. If you've never tried yoga or meditation, I highly recommend that wherever you live, go take a class. You will not find a more loving and safe space than a yoga studio. I can promise you that. It is a very loving, safe space. And if you're just not comfortable with that, then watch some online classes, meditations, just so much I could recommend right now. But maybe I'll kind of throw that in as I post videos of classes and things like that. A lots more I could say, but I'll save it for another time. But just be kind to yourself. I'd say it in class a lot. Be kind and loving to yourself first so that you can extend that out to others, because you can't extend it to others if you don't possess it yourself. So again, it's not about me. It is about taking care of me, taking care of you, so that you can extend that out to others, because that's really what it's about. So stay safe, stay well, and just breathe. The birds are talking. Y'all have a great afternoon.